Uh-oh. Hello. There we
All right,
go.
I think we're good now.
Okay, I think we're good here.
All right.
Hi, guys. Welcome to History of a Haunting. It is smooth sailing as usual. I actually decided at the last minute to try out a new platform. So we are on StreamYard, and we're usually on Ecamm when we do our lives. But welcome to the show, History of a Haunting. We are closing out the year with you guys, and we have an amazing show for you. Laura, are you ready for tonight? Because you are familiar with who we're bringing on and what we're about to show them. So are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it again. It's crazy intriguing.
It's crazy intriguing. It's crazy intriguing. I think we can all agree that 2023 was kind of crap. So we decided, Laura and I, that we were going to call time on it. And we are going to end this year with a bang. So we hope you guys are ready. We hope you guys are settle in, grab your favorite beverage and hang on, because man, tonight is going to be. Do you have your Monster, your white Monster?
No, I have coffee today. I went to Starbucks.
Why do you? Oh, okay. Not Dutch Brothers? All right. I mean, fine.
The line is way too crazy long.
I mean, it is kind
of. I
of.
didn't have like 7 years to get coffee.
No, you really didn't. No, you really, because I was like, don't be late. Okay, guys. So we have, you guys have heard us talk about it a lot on the show. You guys obviously know our dear friends from Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. They have a weekly show every Monday. Tony Rathman, Cherie Rathman, Chris Allgood, Audrey Keeler, Ron Iacovetti, and Lourdes Gonzalez. Well, we have 1/6 of them here tonight. Tony Rathman is going to be joining us. You guys know who he is. And we are going to be showcasing STATICOM for you tonight. And it is going to be an interactive event. So we want you guys to listen along with us and interact with us, ask questions, shout out what you hear. In the meantime, just to give you guys kind of an idea, if you're not familiar with STATICOM, let me play this quick little introductory video about STATICOM, if you will. So let me present this. It is amazing. Hang on for just 2 seconds. Again, new situation I'm working with here. Where did it go? Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. Sit back and let this little video, it is amazing, give you a tiny intro into STATICOM. Here we go.
Life research of 4 ITC or instrumental transcommunication researchers who have taken the results and failures of those in history and combined them with a method known as DRV, or Direct Radio Voice. This new communication method, called STATICOM, is the result of years of study combining ideas from past successful techniques from some of the greatest minds in history. The results have been nothing but mind-blowing. If spirits survive death, where do they go? Do they take intelligence with them? Can they see the living? Can they interact with us? And last but not least, can we communicate with them?
And when you have consistency of data, you have reliability of data. And in trying to shift the paradigm, that's your smoking gun. And then Lourdes Gonzalez and I, inspired by ITC and DRV icon Dr. Annabella Cardoso, as well as Marcello Bacci, we resurrected this lost art of spirit communication and developed it over the next few years. In time, we would find ourselves collaborating with ITC great Tony Rathman and his wife Cherie in the aggressive campaign to take DRV into the next level of real-time spirit contact. From generating of a new and controlled live white noise devoid of any radio, removing the low-hanging fruit of the cynic who would suggest, fueled by bias, that stray radio voices were bleeding into the recordings. to the out-of-the-box concept of actually slowing down live white noise in real time. The results, nothing shy of extraordinary.
Knocking.
I heard
Knocking. It was
Again. Who heard that?
Is my mother gonna be here tonight?
Hi.
Can you see the color of my beverage or no?
Is it easy to communicate with this direct radio voice method? Richie, I heard someone say Richie.
Who's watching? Bachi.
That was clear.
Marcello, you started this method. It's working. Can you please try to communicate with us?
Hey, Tony's my friend. I would agree.
Do you like being able to speak with me through DRV? Yes, good. What religious holiday is tomorrow? Easter. Thank you. That's Jesus. Yes, you are right. What did Jesus do on that day?
He rose from what?
Death. Have you seen Jesus?
Not fair, I heard.
You know what we're doing. Well, is it easier Wow. What'd you think, Laura?
It's pretty cool.
I know. Pretty cool. The Easter thing got me. I was like, whoa, my God. Yeah, the Easter thing got me. So, guys, tonight we have a very special guest on the show to chat with us and demonstrate a new spirit communication methodology called STATICOM. Now, those of you longtime listeners and viewers have heard us talk about Tony and his amazing team of Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. As you all know, and I will never stop bragging about, Tony and his wife, Cherie, Chris Allgood, and Audra Keeler plucked me from paranormal obscurity and trained me on how to be an effective, impartial, respectful, and badass paranormal investigator that I am today. So through their training and their mentorship, I have been able to hone my skills and use those same training techniques to train other new paranormal investigators. So you guys have seen him every week on Mondays on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. You have also seen him on season 3's episode of the Phelps Dodge Hospital, Destination Fear. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm HOAH welcome to the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Rathman. You can't talk to him. You were muting him.
No, it's unmuted now. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you. We're so glad. And you guys, Tony has actually been on the show a couple of times before. The most recent, him and the crew of Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence, they co-hosted the Bisbee episode with us. So go check that out. Like I said, Tony, you guys have been very instrumental in my paranormal career. And then that led me into dragging Laura into this crazy abyss of spirits and investigation. So we welcome you to the show. We're very excited for you to talk to us a little bit more about STATICOM, and then have all of us kind of, experiment with it together tonight. Sure. Want to let everybody know that our dear friend Erin Bush, who works with us, she maintains our website and she kind of helps us with a bunch of administrative things. She fills in for us when one of us needs to have a day off from hosting. Erin Bush is going to be manning the chat, guys. So welcome, Erin. Thank you very much for taking care of the chat for us. My pleasure. She's just going to kind of be, throwing up questions as you guys have them. And then if you hear things as we go along doing STATICOM, certainly throw those into the comments. Erin's going to throw those up onto the screen. But for the most part, she's just going to kind of be monitoring that chat. And so to that end, Erin, I guess let's just give it to Tony and let him take it away. This is the Tony Rathman STATICOM show tonight, guys. Closing out 2023 with the best of the best.
Awesome. Well, let's see. STATICOM started out as a process called direct radio voice.
Right.
And the real breakthrough with direct radio voice came from Ron Iacovetti and Lourdes Gonzalez. Cherie and I didn't get involved with it until they were already using it, manipulating it. And it wasn't until we went out for a 4-day, 4-mansion tour investigation in the New Jersey area that I actually got to see it.
Oh, that's right.
Function firsthand.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And immediately after hearing it, and, Cherie and I built spirit boxes for 12 years. And we had what we thought was, we built the EVOX, and then we built the EVOX 2.0, which ran silently. There was no white noise interference, yet you'd get very clear responses. Well, I was blown away when I heard full sentence responses from direct radio voice.
Yeah.
And so I said to Ron, I'm like, this is fascinating. Will you show me how this works? Can I get involved in helping make it advance?
Yeah.
And so, they thought about it for a little while, and then they, because we were co-hosts, they're part of the Entity Voices family. He said, okay, let's do this. And, it probably took its biggest leaps forward when Cherie and I joined the team and started evaluating it and started, experimenting with it. And one of the really big advancements was that even though direct radio voice used static white noise because it doesn't scan through radio stations like a spirit box does, it sits on a vacant station, but you're still using a radio.
Right.
So any skeptic or any scientific person can still use the excuse of, oh, you're picking up stray radio. Whatever was said just happened to correspond to what you asked.
Right.
And I know Ron and Lourdes always had a concern with that. And of course, so did I, because anytime you're trying to produce something or advance something in the paranormal, anytime you have that low hanging fruit, it makes a lot of people dismiss it because there's an easy answer that they think they can give for the reason why it functions. So I was doing a live presentation of direct radio voice. And that's why when you see certain clips, it's referred to at some point as DRV or direct radio voice. Right. Later, it's developed or named STATICOM. Today, it is clearly called STATICOM. It's based off of direct radio voice because it uses a similar procedure, although the whole procedure has been updated as well. And I'll get into that next. But the process is still similar to how it was using white noise in direct radio voice. But if you can, let's run that clip of when I did this test during a live demonstration of it. And Ron always says to me, you know, that was a really brave move. And well, it was either really brave or just really stupid. But either way, it worked out. But go ahead and show that clip because that explains how it went from direct radio voice to STATICOM.
Cool. Here we go.
Basically, static, white noise, and turn it into, like, filtering the frequency and turning it into voice. So we're going to run a little experiment that I have not tried before. But this device is literally a sleep box. And what it does is it plays different sounds, one of them including white noise. So it sounds like this.
Real quick, this is what is going to be on the ghost hunt later this evening. So if you're on for that, if you're not on for that, this little special extra treat while the snake problem is getting handled.
So it sounds like this. Now, normally when we use this, we use it off of a world band radio and at a frequency of 14,400. No radio transmission comes through on that at all. This device, it's absolutely impossible to get radio transmission because this isn't a radio. It's literally mimicking the white noise sound. So I'm going to ask a question and then we're going to filter this white noise. And my question is can I pull voices from this white noise? Now we're going to find out. So all I do is take the output headphone jack, plug this in, which puts it into the computer, and I can filter it. Maybe.
We got faith in you, Tommy.
Oh, I'll get it. Right there. Okay. This is a 3-second loop. So when that thing plays the white noise at night, it's not generating white noise. It's a 3-second loop. Now listen to what's being said. Accurate. Meaning, can I pull voices from this? Now listen to what he says after that. So creepy.
So he's coming out of the box right now.
That is coming out of this. White noise. It's a 3-second loop. And here's the answer to my question. Hi, Tony. I just heard hi, Tony. So creepy. Actors. So creepy. That's the first time I ever tried that, so that's pretty cool. So yeah,
amazing.
That test was literally what made the steps forward to change it from DRV to STATICOM. And we couldn't call it DRV anymore because DRV stood for direct radio voice.
Right.
Now we no longer use, there's no radio involved in it at all. We use a white noise generator. And so there's no way to receive radio waves, satellite waves, walkie-talkie waves, nothing, because a white noise generator doesn't have the ability to do that. The second thing is that broadband white noise does not have any data, vocal data in it, not words, not syllables, not vocals, nothing. Okay. So technically, there should be no voices here at all, but yet we can ask a question, we can get an answer from a voice that shouldn't be there, and we can get an intelligent answer. So this is literally one of the first steps in paranormal communication that's probably happened in the last 60, 65 years. So this is exciting stuff. But outside of Ron and Lourdes, who reinvented direct radio voice and brought it forward, the other person I have to give credit to is Keith from Veranormal, because he was actually doing some experiments and live presentations with white noise outside of a radio prior. So Keith was a big player in this as well. But anyway, that's how STATICOM was born.
Wow, that's amazing. And Laura and I had the wonderful fortune of back when it was direct radio voice, I believe, not this past Gettysburg, but the year before, we had the wonderful fortune of being able to experience that with Ron and Lourdes and Anthony and Giuseppe and Steve Dills. We had such a great time. We were in there, what, Laura, 3 hours, 4, just playing. Like we could not.
Time just flew by.
Right. It just flew by. It was so much fun. And guys, if you didn't see it, please, and Tony, let me know if it's still on Paraflix, but Knowingly Talking to the Unknown, your documentary is still on Paraflix. Is that correct?
It is.
Cool.
It's a 3-part docuseries based on how STATICOM was developed from start to finish, the history of who started it, like Frederick Jurgensen, Marcello Bacci, how we changed it from direct radio voice to STATICOM. And there were other advancements too. There were advancements in the programming. There was a clip that was played on your intro clip to STATICOM where Ron is literally speaking with his mother and grandmother. Now, when that first came through, Ron actually couldn't hear what they were saying because the vocals came in faster than the brain could even interpret what was being said. But way beyond what a human vocal cord could even speak them at. So he said, hey, do you think there's any way we can slow down live white noise and literally slow it down to make the vocals audible? And I said, well, let me do some looking and find out. And I did. I found a program that sounded like it had the capability of slowing down live white noise. And sure enough, it did. Ron tested it and said, oh my God, it works. We added it. And that's the other cool thing about STATICOM is that if you're doing an EVP session, you'll record and then you'll review. And that's what it's called, record and review. It's the process of capturing the data. But the process in between that they don't talk about is that when you're reviewing, you try to clean it up. You may try to amplify it. You may try to take out some of the background noise. We made STATICOM where that all happens live. The filtering of the noise is taken out. The vocals are shifted and the frequencies are arranged to capture them. The speech clarity is improved. The white noise is slowed so that the voices can be heard to us as human beings with our human hearing, and that all happens automatically during the live.
So it's real-time communication with whatever spirits happen to be there. Now, they may be spirits associated with whatever location you're doing this in, or they may be just spirits that are coming through and just, they're all around us all the time, right? We all know
Correct.
that.
Correct.
So if we may be looking for, say, I want to talk to my grandmother, well, she may not be one of the ones that just happens to be around at the moment. Is that correct? Right. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So, hey, Tom, how's it going? So one thing, guys, we're going to get into this and we're going to start playing this for you. Who's going to get it fired up? We're going to get it going. And then that way you guys can hear what it's actually like, what it's like to sit there and listen to it. Now, you guys have improved upon it in the last, what, Laura, year and a half since we were in Gettysburg?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So to us, it was sort of like, and I just said this to Laura, and I said it to pretty much anybody that will listen when I talk about STATICOM. And I said it to Tony last night when we were doing our little like test before the show tonight. It's kind of like, you remember those old Magic Eye posters from like the late 80s and early 90s where you kind of had to like relax your vision and just sort of let the image pop out at you before you could really see it. You just sort of had to, I don't know, it was just one of those Magic Eye.
Right.
And then it was like the Statue of Liberty or whatever. This is kind of like that, but for hearing. So it can take a minute before you can pick up on what they're saying.
Right.
Once you do, you can't stop hearing them. And it does very much sound like you're just kind of eavesdropping on conversations going on around you.
That's exactly the case. In fact, when we started this and they realized that we could hear what they were saying, we actually got those results. Oh my God, he can hear us. And then I'll be like, and then I respond, be like, yeah, I can hear you. And they're like, oh my God, because they weren't used to that. They weren't, until this was developed, there was maybe, I don't know, a handful maybe that communicated with Marcello Bacci through direct radio voice. But when we started hitting them daily, nightly with STATICOM, they were like, oh my God. So that was a real interesting response from Spirit going, he can actually hear me. Yeah.
It's a trip for all of us. It's really wonderful. It is something that Laura and I have talked about a lot, especially since we got back from Gettysburg, because Laura, being our skeptic, Laura, I think talk a little bit about what your impression of it was, because I think you kind of hair was blown back a little bit that night.
I think by far it's probably the most interesting experience I've had. Partially because it's not just one response. We were there for hours getting so many intelligent responses to the questions that we were asking that one thing you can be like, okay, that's just, coincidence, whatever. Right. When it happens hour after hour after hour, and you hear and the voices don't sound the same. The vernacular's the same. The voices don't sound the same.
Right.
Like it's, like the way they talk. Yeah. It's wild. Like I was honestly just like floored.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually had this analyzed by audio engineers, and one of the feedback that came was that the voices in STATICOM inhibit the same vocal characteristics in which humans speak. And if you were literally getting what people call artifacts or warbles, that those features wouldn't exist. So this audio engineer is like, STATICOM has the same vocal features as human speech. He goes, that's not possible in, artifacts or warbles. So he said, this is incredible evidence that what they're getting is actual intelligent speech.
Yeah, I'm telling you, immediately I was like, this is a game changer for the paranormal investigative field. I genuinely believe that. And nobody is ever going to change my mind on it because I've experienced it. So that is another reason why we wanted to do this live show with you guys tonight, because we want you to experience it. We want you to interact with us, with Tony, with STATICOM. Let's do it together. Okay. So what we'll do is we are going to run it. And then if you guys have questions along the way, Tony can mute it and then we can ask your questions if you have questions as we go through it. But then we're going to save maybe like the last 30 minutes of the show. We run till for another hour and a half. So we'll run STATICOM for about an hour. And we'll play with it together. And then the last 30 minutes, we'll have a Q&A session. So feel free to ask Tony, to ask me, to ask Laura, any questions that you guys may have. Aaron's going to, you can ask them now as we go along. Aaron's going to pop those up either during the Q&A if it pertains to whatever's going on, or just at the end of the episode, we can get through as many questions as we possibly can. But I know I have a couple of questions for Tony at the end of this. Laura, you may have a couple of questions as well. So we certainly will get through as many as we possibly can. But are you guys ready? Tony, are you ready to fire it up? Let's do it.
Almost.
Yeah.
Wait, Roger's saying, can you
Okay.
ask them yes or no questions, or for things more elaborate and the spirits will come through sometimes instantly? Yeah, absolutely. Roger's experienced firsthand many times. But he's absolutely right. You're not asking just yes or no questions. I mean, we've asked full names. There's a couple, I think 2 or 3 clips that have happened since STATICOM's been upgraded a few times. It's the Tony Rathman can see one. And do you have, so maybe we just play those first before we go live, just to show how it's being advanced, somebody asked in the chat about, how is the evidence, or how's the data collected? Someone was asking about, can you answer complex questions? This will give a little information on that as far as, how it's collected. And, people ask, well, what's the boundaries? The bottom line is we don't have any boundaries for it yet, and we don't know where they are. That'll take additional research, which will take years. But right now there's only maybe a handful of things I know we can ask that I know we won't get an answer to. And they're things like, what are the winning lottery numbers? Trust me, we've asked. They literally they don't answer, and they tell us, no, can't have that. So
damn it, show's over. Bye, guys.
But yeah, let's just run through those other clips and then we'll get into the actual live.
Okay. Do you want to start with "And Tony Rathman Can See," or let's?
Sure. No, that one's fine. So let me just give a brief.
Sure.
All 4 of the EVPE team was in North Carolina. We were investigating a haunted house that was run by Chris Allgood and Audra Keeler. And they told me about this young girl that lived in the house, spirit now, obviously today. But I saw her. And Chris said to me, "What are you looking at?" I said, "There's a girl standing on the edge of the stairway." And then we went outside for a cigarette, and I'm smoking my cigarette, and I see her poke her head through the window. And I'm like, and Chris is like, "You see her again?" He goes, "Can you see her looking out the window?" I'm like, "Chris, I can." And that never happens to me. Yeah. Well, then we turned STATICOM on, and this is what the spirit said.
All right, here we go.
Same night.
Tony Rathman Can See. Now, guys, listen, I've investigated with these folks. We don't call each other by our full names when we're investigating. It's not like, "Hey, Tony Rathman, can you come over here? Hey, Chris, I'll get Chris." Because
we never even said probably my last name.
Right. Yes.
Yet they called me by first and last name and verified the experience I just had seeing Sarah, this little 10-year-old girl, walking around the house, which never happens to me. And there it was.
Yeah, she was. If it's the same little girl I'm thinking of, she was captured in a photograph in that same window having her hair brushed.
Wow.
Is that the same girl? Yeah,
I think
that's the
so,
same
yeah.
little girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. I'm actually going to play it again, guys, because
All right.
it was really quick. But let's go ahead and let's play it again. This is exactly how it sounds too. Amazing.
That's pretty cool.
It's so amazing. I'll tell you what. Talk to us a little bit about Let's Touch Tony.
Okay, so
no,
we're all 6 of us, Chris, Audra, Ron and Lourdes, myself and Cherie, are all upstairs on the 2nd floor in a center hallway, wide hallway between all the rooms on each side of the hallway.
Right.
Well, I had my back to one of the rooms, and Chris, who's psychic, said, just as he said, I think there's something behind you. Something rushed up on me and literally made me jump in my chair. And that is when, just before that is when this came through STATICOM. Just before Chris said, there's something behind you. This is what came through STATICOM.
All right, let's take a listen, guys.
Can you stop talking and let spirits that are in this house answer our questions? They're trying. Okay, keep going, please, because I can hear a blessing. That was a yes. It sounded like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can see my back is to an open room behind
Yes,
me.
it
That's where they
is.
came up from. And just as they were coming up, and I felt it. Chris goes, "There's something behind you." I said, "I know."
Wow. Yeah, that actually, I've investigated a lot of crazy haunted places with this man, you guys, and he is not easily spooked.
No,
He doesn't get the creeps real easy. There are, I mean, like we go into some really dark places, literally dark, like no light whatsoever, and that have bad history, dark history. This is not a guy that gets the heebie-jeebies easily, but so for you to say that, that's pretty telling. That's really
it was. I mean, I knew it before Chris even said it, and then when Chris said it, there's something behind you. I was like, oh my God! I'm like, I know.
I love it. I love it. All right. When the spirits start fawning jokes. Actually, can we play 8?
Sure.
You might want to play We Found the Rat, but 8 is so funny, you guys.
Yeah, go ahead, play it.
I love it. Let's play it. This is called 8, like the number 8. Hang on.
What do you like about the YMCA? I'm not sure what I heard there.
Bullshit.
No. All right, spirits, I need to know this is working. Can you very loud and very clear say Rathman? She heard you.
Can you guys see us?
How many spirits are here with us right now? Sounded like it again. 7. 8. Thank you. 8 again. 8 again. 8 again. 8 again. So there's 9 of you?
Yeah, it's funny because, most people don't think about this, but spirits have the same emotions as we do. They have a sense of humor. They clearly, I knew it was 8. I heard it probably 28
a million times. Yes.
But, I made a joke. I'm just like, so there's 9 of you? And, he's like, bullshit.
The minute you said that, I was like, Tony is screwing with that. And then it came through bullshit. And I died. I was like, this is so hysterical. I love it. So Roger's asking, do you have the one from the Orpheum? I do have that one.
I don't know if we have it loaded though, do we?
We don't. Let me take a quick look here. How long is it?
I don't know. Roger, put up which one you're talking about, because I have quite a few of them from Orpheum, and I'm not sure what I sent. I'm not sure which one you were referring to, but while he's typing that, why don't you just play the last one? I think there was
one more. We found the Rathmans.
The counting one.
Okay.
I don't know. You may have it. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's play. Beautiful. We found the Rathmans.
All right, spirits, I know you're here. I know you're talking, and I appreciate that very, very much. Can you do me a favor? Can you say Anthony Rathman? Spirits, can you please do me a favor and say it for me again? I heard you say it. Can you say Anthony Rathman? Thanks, Tony. I heard Anthony. I didn't hear Rathman. Rathman. Did you hear it? Yes. Did you hear it? Dylan didn't hear it. Can you say hello, Dylan? Really loud and really clear. Can you say for me, please? I greatly appreciate it. Can you say hello, Dylan? What day is today, spirits? Do you know? Hello?
Yeah, it's just the craziest thing though, because like I said, there should be no voices there at all. But to be able to ask a question and then have an intelligent response that pertains to the question you ask come through and answer it.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing, because there should be no answers there. None.
There should be no answers there. And for those of you who are not entirely sure, they've kind of taken, and Tony, forgive my really rudimentary explanation of this, but they have taken, we're all familiar with the spirit box, right? It scans radio frequencies, every radio frequency, an eighth of a second. And the idea behind that is that spirits can manipulate that energy and come through. With the expectation that the answers that we're getting as we ask the questions on a spirit box or an SB7 or what have you is pertaining to the situation we're in, or it is actually answering the question that we ask. But this is actually removing that whole element, right? Correct. It's moving all of the radio frequencies out of it. There's none of that.
Correct.
But yet we are still getting answers to questions.
You are absolutely correct, and that was actually a really good explanation.
Great. Okay, good.
After having built spirit boxes for 12 years, yes, that was the theory behind how it worked. Was that they would use bits and pieces of sound through the various frequencies it was scanning and then manipulate them to create their sentences. Well, what we noticed with spirit boxes is that we'd get a word or two, sometimes half a sentence, but not full sentences. I've had 7-minute conversations with spirit. And what we determined was they don't use those fragments of radio at all.
Yeah.
What they use is the white noise. And because a spirit box flips through those stations so quickly, that we believe that's what's limiting the amount of information they can give, because they're limited to fractions of a second to say yes, no, or a single word. STATICOM eliminates all of that.
Yeah, and it's really crazy too, because I think when we have this mindset as investigators, and this is a broad generalization, guys. I'm not saying every single one of us this.
Sorry.
Loki wants to talk. It's a broad generalization, guys. But I think that we sort of have this mindset when we go into a location, be it the 1830 Montgomery House or Trans Allegheny or the Shanley Hotel. Some of these places that are super, super old, we just kind of assume that the spirits that live there are stuck in their own time frame. And Laura and I and Chris and Audra, Ron and Laura, we all found out that, well, at least, Ron and Laura's probably new, but Laura and I found out that that's not actually the case.
Correct.
So one of our very favorite situations was we were getting ready to wrap it up. And I think Ron asked the spirits to describe Chris Allgood. Describe Chris. And a couple of seconds later, because sometimes it can take it's not immediate. Like if you're talking like this, the answer doesn't come through right away. It took a few seconds, but we heard back through the direct radio voice, Justice League. And we all freaked out.
Yeah.
Because Chris was wearing a Superman t-shirt.
Yep.
So the intelligent haunts are very aware of what is going on, what is popular now, what is whatever. It's the residual ones that are probably not the ones even coming through. Is that a fair statement to say, Tony?
Well, it's tough for us to determine if it's residual just because we can't determine it's intelligent. Now, we can determine if it's intelligent by asking a question, asking them to say a word, and if they say it, that's intelligence. But
Sure.
If something does come through that would be residual, it's very possible. We would just have a hard time identifying it because we can't test it against intelligence. Therefore, it could be a voice. So that makes it a little bit trickier. But you're absolutely right, is that just because you hear voices at a location doesn't mean they're from that location.
Yeah.
And we've never turned down STATICOM and not had voices come through. And they don't have to be right where you are. They can be coming from anywhere. Spirits are not confined to time or space or to the scientific 3D world rules of time and space, because they're human constructs. They're not spiritual constructs. So, we've asked spirits questions. Ron in New Jersey, Chris in North Carolina, and myself in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've literally been able to answer, go look at things in North Carolina, go back to New Jersey and answer without a split second in time to do it.
Okay. All right. Well, that is cool, right, Laura? Laura, maybe you and I should just come up with some questions to ask. I mean, because again, you guys are both in Phoenix. I'm in North Carolina. We've got a number of people in the audience right now that are from all over the place. So is there another video that you would like to show, or do you just want to get into STATICOM?
We can do STATICOM. That's fine.
Okay.
Hey, roll.
I love it. I'm having the best time. Aaron, again, thank you so much for running the chat for us. Yeah, because obviously I've had a bazillion questions, and Laura's like, Carrie talks so much I can't get a word in edgewise. So that's on. Let's start it then, guys. Let's play with STATICOM, because I promise you, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And this is where Erin's work really kicks in, because she's going to have to listen to what's going on in STATICOM and then the comments. And so cheers to
Roger's
you.
already asking
Sweetheart.
probably one of my first questions.
Right? Already, yeah.
All right. So now this is going to be a little tricky for me, because I've done some upgrades, which aren't even going to be presented tonight, or probably not for a little while, but to STATICOM that I'm very looking forward to showing the outcome of them. But because of some of the things I've done, I have to run this a little differently than I normally would. So I may have a hard time interacting unless I pause it. But I'm going to flip it over to STATICOM, which I'm going to do right now. And then I will run it. And then, when questions come up, if you want me to pause it or something, let me know. But all right, here we go. Spirits, can you hear me? Was that a yes? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Now to Roger's question. Spirits, do you know who you're talking to? The neighbors. Can you say Rathman? There we go. Little scratchy, but definitely Rathman. Spirits, you have a whole audience listening. Do you have something you want to say to them? STATICOM just said I can, so I don't know if you can see the question, but Tracy asked if you can name a spirit in her house. Can you do that? Tracy, you'll have to let us know if you hear the answer, because I don't know the names of the spirits in your house. Spirits, can you answer Tracy's question? How many spirits are with me right now? Eight. Why are there always eight?
It is. It's always 8. It's really weird.
I must have a following, but yeah, that was clearly 8. So there's 9 of you? Yep.
No.
8. I got it. Yes, there's 8.
Yes.
Thank you.
What is wrong with him? He just kicked out.
They're like, he's stupid.
Math is hard.
Thank you, though, spirits. I appreciate the communication. That means the world to me. Who am I speaking to? You are spirits, right? Spirit, yes. Can I speak with extraterrestrials? Is that possible? Yeah. So it is possible? Spirits, what's it like where you're at? Spirit, yes, I know I'm talking to Spirit. Can you tell me what it's like where you're at? Was that a yes? What's it like?
Exactly.
All right, let me ask you this. What do you miss about Earth? House? You miss a house? Family. Okay.
Family, okay. 8. They're stuck on that 8, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
They love 8.
Right. Hey, Spirits, can you please tell me Laura's middle name?
Spirits, I don't know if you heard that. Carrie asked what Laura's middle name is. Can you tell us? Yes, okay.
Yes,
Can you
okay.
say it? One more time, Spirits. I think you might have said something. One more time, please, real clear. Rachel?
And Shannon, but I thought I heard it earlier.
I thought I heard it earlier too, but I wasn't sure.
Mhm.
One more time, Spirits. Since we already said it, can you say it?
We don't have to. Laura, I think that's your family.
Why? Because they're refusing to cooperate.
Yes. Connecting.
Spirits, do you know what day today is? What day is today, Spirits? Okay, forget about the day. What's today's date? Month and day. What month and day is today? December what, Spirits? December what is today? All right, Spirits, do you want tougher questions? Of course. Okay. Can we be human more than once? Can we be human more than once? Does reincarnation exist? I think I heard the answer, but can you repeat it? I don't want to say it till you repeat it. Does reincarnation exist? Yes. Spirits, at times I think that I was communicating with Marcello Bacci. Was I? Yes. Is Marcello Bacci around? Yes. Would it be possible that I could speak with him? Yes. Okay, great. Can you let me know when he's there so I can speak with him? Is he speaking right now? Okay. Marcello, can you say hello? Yes. What did you say to us the first time you spoke to us? Can you repeat that sentence? Bocce, I heard that clear. He's here now? Did I hear that right? Yes. Spirit, yeah. Sorry, spirits, I was reading comments. How many spirits are with me right now? Hello? How many spirits am I communicating with right now? Is it the same number or different? Hello? 6. So I lost 2? Did I bore them? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Spirits, you're willing to ask questions from the audience or answer questions from the audience? Did you just say let's focus? Yes. All right, spirits, let's try again. Who are you talking with? Do you know? Yeah? Who? What's my name? What's my name, spirits? Okay, I heard someone say the answer. Spirits, what's my last name? All right, let's just try it. Let's try a test word to make sure you can hear me. Spirits, can you say blue cat? Spirits, say blue cat for me, please. Yes, Tammy, she has. Both of them have. And that is possible. I've spoken with my grandfather through STATICOM. Spirits, am I bothering you, or do you want to communicate? It's a game? Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be a game. Can you just communicate with us? Would you be willing to do that? I'm sure lots of people have questions for you. Would you be willing to answer them? Yeah? Okay, good. I know you don't like to do test spirits, but I got to do one more just to make sure my connection's good. Can you tell me my wife's name? What's my wife's name? That might have been it. One more time. Sorry, one more time. I think I heard it twice already. One more time. There we go. All right. Thank you. All right, I'm going to flip this back over to me. Now it'll still be running, but if you guys want to come back in, maybe we can ask some questions of it and ask questions and see if we can get some answers.
I love this for starters. Okay, yeah, what Ron is saying. If the technician is assisting in the communication, please say technician.
Oh, I think it was right there.
Technician.
One more time, spirits. Say it one more time. That might have been it again.
Yeah.
For a third time, spirits, and I'm sorry. We're slow. Say it one more time.
Technician.
Say technician.
I heard it.
He just said, you hear it?
Yes.
Yes, we hear it.
Laura, did you hear it? Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, guys, spirits, we have some folks in the audience that have had loved ones cross over recently. So they have some questions. Aaron, if you want to throw up some of the starred ones, there we go. Tammy wants to see if her dad is here.
Spirits, could you understand that, or you want me to repeat it? Tammy is asking if her father is around. Can you say his name? I'm waiting to see what Tammy responds. I heard what sounded like a name, but
I did too.
Spirits, do you know Tammy's father's name? There's a whole bunch of stuff there.
Yeah, I heard Tammy.
Spirits, do you know who Tammy is, and do you know if Rathman? I just heard Rathman. I heard that too, Lourdes.
Thomas.
That is what I heard.
Mm-hmm. Thomas. Does anybody in the audience have a relative named Thomas, a father or an uncle or grandfather?
I do.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Who is Thomas? Aaron has a Thomas, a Tommy.
I got a Tommy too. Thomas.
Okay, whose Thomas is this? Is this Ackerman's Thomas or is this Bush's Thomas? I heard Ackerman.
What's Thomas's last name? Spirits, what's Thomas's last name? Do you know?
They keep saying, what's the name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, Liz.
Okay, Spirits, Liz wants to know if her brother Eddie remembers the song he mentioned on another STATICOM live session. Could he say that song again? What's that song? Yeah, I keep hearing Thomas.
I do too. Yeah.
They're still repeating it. Sandy Andrews, I see your comment that says kudos to the people who can make out what words they're saying. It is a learning curve that Carrie was talking about in the beginning of the show, that it takes time to be able to hear EVPs. STATICOM's not that different. There's a lot of vocal background. Once you get the hang of it, then it just comes out like secondary process.
Yeah, for sure. Angelique wants to know, what does Thomas have to say? Because he's just like, everybody's like, Thomas.
Yeah, and Ron just said it's that Thomas Edison. That's a great question.
I would die if it is.
Well, let's find out. Thomas, is this Thomas Edison by any chance? Yep. What message do you have, Thomas, for us? It's really something. Is this kind of like your phone to the dead you were trying to create?
Ooh.
Thomas, is this similar to what you wanted to create with your phone to the dead?
I hear a female saying yes.
Oh. Thomas Edison, is this really you? And if so, say phone to the dead.
He just said it. Phone to the dead. Immediately.
I didn't hear it.
Yes.
Well, then that would be you, Thomas. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my God, really, Ron? Wow, damn.
Thomas, any input on making this better? Your help on the other side would be of great help.
Interesting.
Patience. Well, that I don't have time for patience. Cherie, yeah. Cherie is my patience, yes. Okay, patience. I understand. So, Thomas, what can we do to make this clearer? Something simply humans at the end, but there was a full sentence there.
Yes, that one voice was a lot, saying a lot.
I appreciate your input and any help you can give. Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, everybody knows that, Tammy. Thomas, any more advice for STATICOM?
Let me look.
That's what it sounded like. He just said, let me look.
Yeah.
All right. We'll patiently wait.
Yes. What other spirits are here with us? Can you tell us your names?
He just said Carrie. Yeah, Carrie asked what other spirits are with us and whether you can give us your names. Can you do that?
Hold on.
I'm sorry, did you say Janice?
Names. He said, yeah, names.
Names.
He asked if you said Janice.
I'm sorry, is there a Janice here? Yes.
There is. Yeah, he said, yes, there is.
Yeah.
But see, again, that's that whole relationship of time and space. You're in North Carolina. We're in Phoenix. You asked a question in a whole other state, and they answered.
Janice, what is your last name?
Did you ask Janice's last name? Who did you ask, Carrie?
Janice, what is your last name?
Because whatever I heard just said Janice something. It was the something I missed. Janice, repeat that again. Janice what? That was Janice something.
Janice Bowman.
That's what it was?
Laura, did you hear that?
Yeah. I was trying to make it out though. But yeah, I heard Janice something.
I'm sorry, spirits, can you say that again? Janice?
Spirits, do me a favor. Let's just do a real simple test. Tell me what comes next. 1, 2, 3. Test. Yeah, I heard you say test. 1, 2, 3. They're still talking Janice.
Mhm.
Janice, spirits, Janice Bowman, if you are here, can you please tell me your daughter's middle name?
Right there.
What? I missed it.
Spirits, one more time. Say it again.
What does she want?
Repeat the name you said, spirits. For Laura's middle name. Repeat that again, please. Did either one of you hear it?
No.
No?
No, what was it?
Is your middle name Shannon?
It is.
That was twice. They said it twice.
Oh my God, Laura.
One more time, spirits. One more time.
Shannon.
I heard it.
Right there again.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh my God.
Thank you. They just said thank you. That was correct, spirits.
Thank you. Is my mom there?
Spirits, Laura wants to know, is her mom there? She ought to be.
She ought to be, yeah.
Can Laura speak with her mother? Spirits, you got real quiet. Can Laura speak with her mother? Spirits, you're obviously talking amongst yourself. Can you answer my question? Can Laura speak with her mother?
Hello.
It's like listening in on someone else's conversation.
It is.
An
very
argument, you know.
Yes.
It's like a spiritual wiretap. That's exactly what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pivotal. So can she, spirits? Can Laura speak with her mother? Did you say no?
Did you say no? Should we? I heard should we?
Tony, do you find that a lot of times they are almost afraid to say too much? Like when you, because I feel like that's how it was.
Without a doubt. In fact, we know walls that will hit and where we'll hit them. but I know that communication between past people who have passed over and live people still alive can happen. I spoke to my grandfather, literally, and he said some phrase I recorded, sent to my mother. She called me within about less than a minute. She's like, "Oh my God, that's your grandfather." And I'm like, "Really?"
Wow.
She
That's
was
really crazy.
blown away. So I know that's not a wall. Right, spirits? We can communicate with the past loved ones. Right? Yes.
Yes. Hey,
Spirits, Tracy wants to know if her mother-in-law is up there with you and how's she doing?
I heard that, Lourdes. Technology. Yes, Tracy.
She's there?
Yeah, I heard yes.
All right, how's she doing?
Tracy, I heard Tracy.
I thought I heard Tracy too, and something correct.
Yeah. Oh my God, Tony, my God.
Yeah, people who hear this for the first or even second, third time are like, if I had that in my, I'd never turn it off. But unfortunately, life gets in the way. You got to go to work. You got to pay bills. You got to.
But yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna shut it off or pause it at least for now, and that way we can interact with audience.
We'll get back to it, guys. Though.
Yeah.
Aw, Tracy. She is Tracy, correct? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I thought I heard it. The hard part for me is hearing the show, watching the and like you guys, you only have one audio input. I've got three because they're not. I wasn't able to connect them like I normally have in the past because of current issues, but we'll get around that. But
I'm sorry, but I will never ever I will never stop being so amazed by this. I will actually never stop being amazed by the paranormal in general. You know, you get your very first EVP, you have your very first experience, you want more and more and more and more. And Ron lovingly likens it to like a drug, like you want it again and again and again. And that's very, very true.
And you always want just that little bit more than you had last time for that extra thrill. And you know, there's nothing. Cody and Satori have also had spirits say too close when they're getting questions about things that are on there. Absolutely true.
Well, and you know what? I mean, they're human spirits, right? So there's times when I get asked questions that I'm not comfortable answering from other humans. Like it's just sort of
correct. But if you think about it, everybody says, hey, that boundary between being human and alive and the afterlife is a thin veil. Well, to me, that thin veil is this human body. Our eyesight only works at visible light frequency. Our hearing only goes from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That boundary is this human body. When we find ways with technology to cross that communication barrier, I'm sure there's universal laws that say they're not allowed to know that. That'll completely screw up what they're there to learn. And that, to me, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does to me too. It does me as well.
And it's always struck me that there's almost like a council. It seems like sometimes when you're talking to them, like they're telling them like, you can't say that. Because I remember the first time somebody had asked like, is there just one God or are there many gods? And somebody replied, many gods. And then everybody, all the other voices that you heard, they got pissed at them for saying, they're like, no, that's too much. Get out of here.
I remember that. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I remember that too. And I also remember many, many times. I mean, Sheree and I run this all the time, but where they'll answer and then somebody says, watch my back, or they're coming, like they
they're
know
gonna get hauled off
they've
to jail.
crossed the boundaries. Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Aaron's right. If
Yeah.
we had all the answers, we'd all need a new hobby. But it doesn't, like, that's a human aspect of it, right? Like, that's our ego wanting to know what's coming next.
Right. Right.
You know, so we can be prepared. Soul is like, be patient, you'll find out. Ego is like, no, I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know right now.
It's just human nature to want to be able to understand what you don't know. And, you know, the whole term of fear comes from what you don't know. So it's human nature to want to understand what you don't know, to take away that fear. And when people talk about death, a lot of people fear death because you don't know what's there.
Yeah.
And when you've got doors open like STATICOM to maybe fill some of those answers, that helps.
Yeah. It's this is definitely something that
right.
Laura and I both believe is going to change the face of paranormal investigations. And I want to ask you, because I know that you guys are not, you know, unaware of it, but there has been a recent situation that's happened with Cody and Satori, and the gift that they have and the things that they can do with their type version and their method of speaking with spirit, and how people are trying to debunk that. My question to you guys, and Ron and Lourdes, you guys are watching, you guys are in the chat, like, feel free to chime in. Cherie, you're there as well. To the people that say what this is crap. This is, you guys are just manipulating frequencies that you are calling white noise or whatever. What is it that you guys, because I'm sure you guys have gotten the comments and the backlash.
We've gotten negative comments to, that's not what they're using, they're faking it. Well, it is what we're using. We're not faking it. And anybody with a scientific background that wants to see it live, we'll be happy to show it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You can see the components that run in it, and you can tell, hopefully, us where these voices are coming from, because they should not be there.
Okay. Here's a question. Nefereth, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I apologize. I'm spelling it out phonetically. Is there a diagram of how STATICOM works? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, the simple, no, there's not one drawn out there somewhere. But the simple diagram is, we take white noise, not from a radio, but from a white noise generator, a box, a computer box that has the frequency equivalent to produce white noise.
Okay.
That white noise is pumped into a computer. The computer puts vocal modifications against the white noise to filter the voices that are in there anyway and bring them out. And then we just ask questions. That literally, in a nutshell, is the simple diagram. It is filtered white noise, broadband white noise.
Okay.
That's all there is to it.
Okay. So Ron has a good point. The debunkery will always be, and that's the fact. That's the facts.
Always.
They cannot show what we do is fake or inaccurate. They can try to mimic, but that is like saying a flight simulator is identical to the experience of flying. And that's a very good,
great point.
It's a very good point. Yeah.
Right. And white noise has no vocal data, no data at all. But the other thing, and Ron said this, and when we were trying to decide, because the research went on with STATICOM, Ron and Lourdes for years doing DRV before we turned it to STATICOM. But the fact of the matter is when you start to release it to the public. And I remember Ron saying, it's kind of like, fighting. If you've got a champion who's been champion for years, and then this brand new person comes and challenges and knocks them out in the first 10 seconds, people are going to be like, okay, that's bullshit. That's rigged. That wasn't real.
Yeah,
well, it's the same thing with STATICOM. We released it as we're still evolving it so that people can see the progress, not just we hit them with something that they're like, no way, no, that's impossible. So,
right. Yeah. It's always going to be. So Laura, what questions do you have? Because Ron and Lourdes are in the chat. Tony's in the chat. Sharia's in the Tony's on screen. Everybody else is in the chat. What are your questions for them? Because I mean, you and I, like, separately, like on our own when we're just BSing on the phone, we have questions. So let's ask them. What do we got here? Like, it's kind of, and me as a staunch believer, this is sort of like, it's almost not too much for me, but it's almost like, could this really be, this would be so amazing. And yet I have experienced it just like you have. And I know what this is.
Well, I can tell by Laura's facial expression that she's got questions. So my response to Laura is, don't be afraid to ask. You are not going to ask probably anything I haven't heard 100 times, and I probably have an answer, so feel free.
Well, actually, I was just going to ask a personal question, more like, what do you think has been the most profound experience that you've had with the STATICOM?
You know, that's a really tough one to say. That's like saying to somebody, what's your favorite haunted location?
Right.
You know, that's based on,
sorry.
That was based on what occurs. Your favorite haunted location is based on how many things occurred, what the level of that they were at, how it impacted you personally. So it's the same thing with STATICOM. Something that I may say was my most profound, talking to my grandfather, that was profound to me. When I recorded it, played it, sent it to my mother, and she called me in less than 60 seconds going, oh my God, that's your grandfather. How did you do this? That was profound to me. STATICOM's answered questions. I asked, how do you hear me speak? Because I'm not broadcasting my voice. I'm speaking in my own house, in my own studio. How are they hearing me? They responded, energy of the mind. That's the thing.
Wow.
That's the thing.
Cool.
That's how it works, which explains why when you do EVP work, sometimes you can get the answer before you even finish asking the question, because they're not waiting for me to vocalize it. They're getting it from me thinking it.
They don't need to.
Right.
And you know what's interesting is, and I don't know if we can do like show of hands in the chat, but for anybody that's had a visitation dream, my grandmother had one with her husband shortly after he died. And then I had one with her. And when I started researching visitation dreams, you know that they are different kinds of dreams. They just, you know that you're dreaming, 1. 2, you know that you're speaking to a loved one that has passed on. 2, but they don't use their mouths to speak. Right. You are, but they are not, because they don't need to. They're pure energy. They're literally speaking to you,
right,
telekinetically. Like, you can just understand them.
Correct.
And so my cousin, Amy and I, and Amy is in the chat tonight. Hello. Love you. Our grandmothers were sisters, and they died 7 months apart. And I remember that Amy and I had a conversation. My grandmother visited me. Her grandmother visited her. And when she was like, I had a dream about Grammy. And I was like, I have a weird question. Did she move her mouth when she talked? Like, and she was probably like, what the fuck? But she thought about it and she was like, no.
Right.
It's just they don't need to. They're pure energy, right? So they don't, and we don't need them to speak to us. Like, they can just
not vocally, right?
No, yes.
But that's also the other doors and the lack of boundaries that we are aware of with STATICOM. Does that mean that spirits can use it? Could extraterrestrials? Could multidimensional? Could it be taken out in the forest and let Bigfoot communicate through it? Very possible. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know the limit. But Laura, back to your question about, what were some of the most amazing experiences. I saw Ron post this in the chat, but I remember one time being absolutely floored because after 12 years of building spirit boxes, I'd take my box, take it to a location, turn it on, and I would be like, are there any spirits here? What's your name? How did you pass away?
Mhm.
It was me asking all the questions, hoping for a response. One of the first times I did STATICOM, I didn't say a word. I turned it on. They were asking me questions.
Yeah.
I was answering their questions. That is definitely
Yeah.
a
That's
physical encounter that I will never forget.
It's so amazing. It's really so amazing.
So can I ask where do you think the voices come from? How do you think we can hear them? Do you think they're just operating on a different frequency? Like, do you think that they're here and they're just in an alternate universe, like alternate dimension? And this allows us to bridge that?
I can tell you how we think we hear them,
Mhm.
where they are, all the variables that are included in that we don't know. But what I can tell you is when I made the reference to getting an EVP answer before you actually finished asking the question, this kind of relates to it. Have either one of you ever experienced what's called direct voice phenomena, where it's an EVP, but you hear it with your own ears?
Yes.
Has that ever happened? Okay.
Yeah.
It's happened to us many times. The one thing about white noise is that it exists in the environment, whether that's in a building, whether that's outside in nature, white noise exists. So if they can use the white noise, which is every frequency from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, it's every frequency the human ear can hear, all of them, at the same level, at a constant. So when a spirit speaks, white noise, they're using a handful of frequencies within that broadband spectrum.
Right.
So their voice goes on top of the frequencies that are already there in the white noise. And then the combination between the noises of those frequencies of their voice and their voice on top of it emboldens their voice to come up and beyond, above, louder, stronger than the broadband white noise itself. And that is how the machine pulls them out.
God.
So, but in a live life situation, that is how you hear the voice coming out of nowhere. It's the same principle using white noise within a natural environment.
Okay, so we have a couple. Yes, Aaron. Yeah. So Nefereth is asking, when you go back through a replay, do you count how many distinct voices you hear? That
Yeah.
I feel like that might almost be impossible because there are so many.
There are so many.
Mhm.
And the best thing about STATICOM is, again, I refer to the record and review, EVP. Spirit communication, ITC, was designated to be two-way communication. EVP is not, because by the time you review it, you're not even probably at the location anymore.
And it
STATICOM
might be 6 months later.
Correct.
But that might just be me.
STATICOM is based on true two-way communication. All the functioning, all the review, all the frequency changes, everything needed to hear them is done live. We don't have to touch it. So do we go back and do additional analysis on what was come through? Sometimes, depending on what we may want to learn additional or what improvements we want to make. But the whole process of STATICOM is to take that out of the equation. So it's all done for us, and true two-way communication can occur.
So I have a question. You guys are taking this communication and you're slowing it down. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, because there is one, like in the teaser we played in the beginning where Ron's mother came through.
Yep. That's what started the whole thing. It was that clip.
Right. Yes. And I can, because I watch you guys every week. I've obviously hung out with Ron. I know how he speaks. He sounds a little drunk in that clip.
Yeah,
because it slowed down.
Well,
Yeah.
because he slowed it down after he recorded it to hear what it said. That's what gave Ron the idea. Oh my God, can we slow down live white noise and make it part of the process so we don't have the problem of hearing something that's spoken so quickly that our brain can't even process it. And that's when Ron came to me and said, hey, let's find a way to slow. And I said, okay, I think I found it. Here it is.
Okay. So do you guys feel, or like, have you found that, are we talking too fast for them?
That I can't answer. I can ask, but that I don't know. I would think because of frequency differences, energy differences, vibrational differences.
I feel they're a little ahead, like of a kind of.
Correct. But they obviously know how to manipulate it, because even on a spirit box, you'll get a voice that isn't being slowed in real time, but you can hear. So somehow they're accommodating for those changes, and they know how to manipulate them. We can only manipulate it to our human hearing, and that's what we did with STATICOM.
Okay, all right. And Tammy just said, I think we're too slow. And I think that that's kind of what you're saying, like, as this human experience we're all having, everything is energy. Aaron is constantly telling us that.
Yeah, it is.
Everything is energy.
Energy, frequency, and vibration. Those are the three components that make up everything.
Make up everything, right? And some things just vibrate on a higher frequency, so it's going to be a little bit quicker. It's going to be, and this human part of us is sort of like, could you dumb that down a little, because I'm kind of not following everything. Certainly me, anyway.
No, I mean,
you guys, but
to pin it down to a understandable phrase, yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Okay, all right, Laura, what about you? I know you have more questions, so fire them off.
I'm just like, I'm reading what Ron is writing, and I'm like listening to you guys, and I'm just like absorbing it all about the, you know what I mean? So I'm into it. Yeah, I find it so intriguing. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty fascinating. I think I can say for everybody that's here right now, everybody that's watching, certainly you guys that have developed this, I think the idea that our loved ones are just a breath away.
Yep. And they're always there.
Yes, is so if it's not comforting, it's enticing. You know, like,
it is.
Can I really talk to my grandmother who's been dead for 17 years?
You can.
Can I really make sure that my best friend's mother, who died a month ago, is there with her right now? Like, and you guys are kind of bringing that assurance in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's sort of almost too good to be true. It's almost too good to be true.
Well, I mean, the progress of this, Ron and Laura started the DRV, bringing it back years ago, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And STATICOM developed from that. But yeah, I mean, the years of work have gone into what you're seeing today, and we're not done. Like I said, I've got a set of improvements that I want to release because I know they're good. But I need a faster computer, because it takes some serious processing power to do this. But to answer, was it Daniel's question about, are these units for sale?
Yes.
Yeah. They actually aren't a device. I mean, it's not like a spirit box that you can go buy. It's a methodology. And I've
asked this question, like, when are you going to roll this out to us?
There's, Ron and I and Lourdes and Cherie are discussing how we do this, because, I mean, some of the components that are used are trademarked. They're not ours. So, it's a methodology. It's a matter of combining specific items, how to create the distinguished frequencies, how to separate them, so it's not a device you can go buy, flip on, and it works. It's a methodology of white noise, how white noise functions, how to separate it, how to zero in on the voices, and then how to communicate with them. So we are considering how to do that. We're just not there yet. on how we do that. And then there's the whole process of you've given somebody something that literally is takes a ton of time to understand, to operate, to manipulate, and to work. We can't become the Best Buy Geek Squad for STATICOM, or we wouldn't be able to go to work because it's intensive to have to explain it to 100 people, let alone 100,000 people.
Right, exactly. It was never conceived to go to market research purposes.
Right. It was strictly done for research. Just like Ron always said, I built 13 different spirit boxes. I never sold one because it wasn't about money to me. It was about, how does this work? How do we improve it? How can we communicate better? I never sold a single one.
Okay, but you're on our show. We're going to be releasing this as a regular episode on New Year's Day. You've been on your shows. You've been on other shows. So surely Daniel's question, my question, you guys must know that people are going to want to do this for themselves.
Oh, of course. We do know that.
While it was never conceived to go to market, have you guys been, you have said, how would we do that?
Right. It's come up
obviously
because
people want to get their hands on
it.
Yeah. Laura and
have,
I want to get our hands on
we
it.
We have a waiting list, and some of those people have been waiting a year or longer. But we're talking about that. We're trying to figure out how to do it. But the other thing is that it's still in the research stage.
Okay.
I'm literally talking about improvements that may never end. So when do you say it's ready?
Sure. Right. Right. It's kind of like the Ovilus, where it's like the Ovilus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it just kind of keeps. And
it may have to do that. It may just have to do that.
And that's fine. It is definitely something. And you guys, if you haven't yet, Ron has written so many amazing books on this entire process. So please go to Amazon. Ron Iacovetti. He has written, Ron, is it 3 books now or 4? Are you getting ready to
He's working on the 5th.
He's working on the, you know what, Laura, we haven't even finished our first.
Okay.
Why do we keep hanging out with Ron? He's just kind of making us feel
bad.
He just makes us feel bad.
He does have some great books out there. So
he does. So definitely.
And don't forget about the documentary, Paraflix, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown, 3-part docuseries, 3 hours and 14 minutes long. I remember because I put it all together myself.
Right. That's that's hard.
Check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. What do we have here? I think if we put STATICOM and Cody and Satori in the same room, the world might explode.
Dude, I was literally thinking that earlier. I was like, how fucking cool would that be?
Ron did run it with Cody and Satori. Now, they didn't match the methods. Cody and Satori were just there, got to see it. But yeah, putting the 2 methods together, I would love to see what occurs.
Listen, and I would love to bring it to the masses here on History of a Haunting. So
awesome.
Aaron, write that down. 4 books, and thank you so much for mentioning it. Yeah. Also, Nefereth is my cousin. And why is he hanging out with you? I really don't know. I don't know. Any of Ron, Lourdes, Tony, Cherie, Chris, Audra. I don't know why they keep hanging out with me and Laura. We pay them well in that we don't. But we do brag about them all the time. And so
that's payment enough.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. That helps. Well, gosh, Tony, what do you want to do now? Do you want to answer more questions? We've been 2 hours and 4 minutes. We've had a steady audience, guys. We are so,
like I said, time flies when you're playing with the STATICOM. It's like you look up and it's like 2 hours. Like just totally. It's a great.
So true. So true.
So true.
It's up to you guys. However you want to do it doesn't matter to me.
I know, EERT Radio. I'll tell you what, I swear, this is just a great group of folks. And Laura and I are like, how do we have the good fortune of hanging out with these amazing people and being trained by them, which, by the way, is on my freaking fucking resume. I was trained by Tony and Sheree Rathman, Chris Allgood, and Audrey Keeler. Like, I am telling everybody about that.
We appreciate that just as much as you do, and to be able to be associated with people who started, from the beginning and worked their way up like you guys did, and learned, and that's how the entire paranormal community grows. That's how progression grows. That's how advancements are made. So, it's just as much an honor for us to be able to be associated with you guys as it is vice versa. And we appreciate that very much.
Yeah. And you know what, guys, it is just, they have become such very, very dear friends of ours. And yes, Aaron is correct. We all get to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
It is. And I'm so grateful for all of the new viewers and listeners for tuning in and hanging out. We have been doing this for over 2 hours now. Tony, I am sure you are probably like, I need to go. Laura, you've got kids. I've got dogs that are like, we need to be let out or it's going to be a problem. So we're going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. But Tony, what would you like to leave the audience with? Like what, either a message about spirits or STATICOM or advice to new paranormal investigators that may be watching? Like, what is the message you want to leave our audience tonight with?
Well, I guess my message to the audience is that spirits do exist. They are not a maybe. They are not it could be, it could not be. They're there. They are around us all the time. And the ability to communicate with them has always been there through spirit boxes to a degree. But that is taking leaps forward. And hopefully in another 5 years, everyone like having a cell phone in their house, or who knows what they'll have in another 5 years, but they'll also have a STATICOM and be able to talk to those people who are not here. So keep an eye out. It is coming. This is just basically step one of what we've been able to, and this includes Lourdes Gonzalez, Ron Iacovetti, Sheree Rathman, and myself. But we're going to continue to push this. And, if we really did get a hold of Thomas Edison tonight and he was checking in on what we were doing, who wanted to create the phone to the dead, that was his one goal, which he never did finish, to have him come and join us tonight. That was awesome. And if he wants to come back and give me more advice, or Ron, please do. But that'd be my message for tonight.
Yeah, I actually, I'm going to be texting Laura as soon as we sign off here and be like, did we just fucking talk to Thomas Edison? Oh my God, and freak out. But yeah, absolutely. It was, right, Ron? Like, what the hell? Baby girl Sheree. Everybody, let's give it up for Sheree Rathman. She is Tony's better half. She's probably the one that has done the most work on this, but
she even everything she's contributed to STATICOM, she has done 100% of everything else that I didn't do while working on STATICOM, which includes cleaning the house, the dishes, laundry, everything in between. She's like, work on the document, I'll take care of it. So
right?
Fantastic.
1,000%. Yeah. So, Tony, what is coming up in 2024 for EVPE? Talk to us about your show. Where can they find you?
Monday nights on the Onyx Network. We cover everything from investigators across the country, sometimes even the globe. We talk about the evidence they caught. We go through their evidence. We do STATICOMs. We'll do live ones. We'll show STATICOM captures. So check out Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence Monday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So you can check out that. But we got lots of things coming up in 24. We're doing the Tombstone Paracon April 26th. So looking forward to that. That one's going to be exciting. And we've got a bunch of things coming up in the next week or two, other shows and various things. So come check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've never been to Tombstone, you are missing a bunch.
Awesome.
It is
So
so
fun.
cool. It is so
Really
cool.
fun.
Yeah, we love it. Well, that is it for us then, guys. Thank you so much for Tom. Thank you so much for tuning in. My beautiful cousin who chose a name that I can't pronounce. Hold on, where'd she go? Nefertiti. What is it? What was her name? Nefereth. Sure. Bless her heart. Yeah. So thank you everybody that tuned in. Ron and Lourdes, Cherie, everybody. I didn't see any comments from Chris and Audra, but I'm sure that they will probably catch it on the replay. We love you guys. Wish you were here. And more power to HOAH. Yes, girl. Please. Let's do this. EERT Radio, thank you so much for tuning in. Tony, as always, I love you so much.
Love
You're
you
a very,
too,
very
both of
dear
you.
friend.
Thank you so much for both of you, Carrie and Laura, for taking the time to go through this, letting us explain what it is. It'll hopefully change the path of the paranormal, and we're just going to keep working on it. But thank you for allowing me to come on and share it. And like I said, I greatly appreciate that. So thank you both.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely. You guys are changing the face of paranormal investigation, and we are here for it. We will always tout all of your achievements, all of the updates, all of the upgrades. Once you get that new computer, Tony, you need to come back on here.
I can't wait to get it to be able to apply what I think is going to be off the charts, but time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so very, very much. We will talk to you later. Laura and I will be back with brand new episodes on January 15th, which is Aaron, our website admin's birthday. So yay. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe. And I would give you wishes for 2024, but the last time we did that, 2023 was a colossal clusterfuck. So have the year you'll have. Bye.